And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bald Guy and the Fat Boy podcast. I'm the Bald Guy with my buddy, the Fat Boy,
Roll Tide.
and it's the 10th of November. We are just getting good into the football season. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on in college football, in the NFL. Where do you want to start at, Fat Boy?
Well, we might as well get the bad news out of the way first. You want the good news, the bad news. Well, the bad news is the Cowboys stink. I mean, uh, I don't. I quit watching. I think after they went up, I can't remember if it was the third touchdown or the fourth touchdown. After they went up a certain amount, I quit watching. Started watching something else. So I don't know how it ended. Uh, I'm always harping about watching the game, but I can't. I can only watch paint dry so long before I got to change channel. Um,
The
it was
Cowboys
terrible.
scored 6 points.
6 points at home. I don't know. I just don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Uh, I don't know.
Huh?
Uh, I mean, I'm hoping it after a full week of practice and full week preparation, the Trey Lance come out and make a difference on this team, one way or the other. Meaning, not for the simple fact of winning necessarily, but coming out and showing that he's capable of being a starting quarterback. So, because we've already signed Dak, that's locked in stone, regardless of his injury or not. So, therefore, he comes out and he shows he's got some hitch in his giddy up, and we can get something for him on the trade market. As of right now, he's untradeable because nobody wants him because he's got to prove that he can be useful, and so therefore that's what the Cowboys need to be focusing on, making Trey Lance worth something.
I really thought that this would be the week where you were giddy, almost excited for the Cowboys.
I was going to I was till the game started. I was very optimistic. I was hopeful. I was downright delusional because I thought the Cowboys actually had a shot today.
This
Uh,
was your chance to see what life was going to be like without Dak. You wanted Dak
no,
gone. This was your opportunity.
necessarily because live without Dak would at least have a little bit better. I mean, at least Trey Lance would have been ready to go. If Dak had moved on, Trey Lance would have been more prepared. We wouldn't have started with terrible throwing Cooper Rush. He looked like he ain't never played a down in his life. Today.
Yeah,
So
this is what quarterback play is whenever Dak's not there. And
well,
you're putting a bunch of hopes on Trey Lance. Trey Lance is what Trey Lance has always been, not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
you mean a first round pick
Yeah,
when yeah.
that couldn't get the job done, and you got him for a fourth. And if we hadn't made a bad deal, you
Only,
probably could have
only
got
reason
him
that
for the
happened
seventh.
The only reason that happened because the flavor of the month came up, why he was injured, and the 49ers moved on. I don't think that has anything. I don't think that has anything to do with the talent that the 49ers saw of him coming out of college. In
Of
my
course
opinion,
it does. Have you not seen him play football?
not in a long time.
That's
And when
because
I
he's not good enough to make you watch him.
and for what I remember when he did play, he was pretty good.
No, he wasn't. And he wasn't good enough in practice to kick Cooper Rush out of the starting role today.
I think Cooper Rush was just a little ahead of him, but I think after this week, I think that'll all change. And
He
then
was
we'll.
not a little ahead of him. He was a lot ahead of him because
Oh
Trey Lance is not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Of course, you think that, but that's not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
Not true. You've always been a poo poo.
Who has won more football games?
Huh?
Who has a better record?
I
Trey
don't know.
Lance or Cooper Rush?
I don't know how many games did he actually get in San Francisco.
Hold
How
on,
many
let's see. Let's see.
did Trey Lance actually win in San Francisco? And if it's more than five, then Trey Lance wins because Cooper Rush is 5-1 or five. No, excuse me. Now he's 5-2.
Oh man, no,
If Trey Lance ain't better than 5-2, I'd be real surprised.
hold on, hold on. Let's see. Trey Lance are 4-4 with Trey Lance as the starting quarterback.
So half 6-1, half dozen the other.
What do you mean 6-1? What's Cooper Rush's record?
5-2.
Versus 4-4.
Yes, but it
A
is
lot of and was what Purdy did when he took over. I think a lot of people would agree that San Francisco team was more talented than this Dallas team.
well, we're gonna. I mean, when Trey shows you something, when he gets the full complement of everything, when he shows you something, you'll eat all these words. It's
I
fine.
have less confidence in Trey than you do in Dak.
Well, maybe so, but I'm just
I
telling you.
think we traded a 4th-round pick, and I don't know as though we'll be able to get a 6th or 7th for him.
After he goes on a run here, we will.
I think after he finishes the year with the Cowboys, nobody will touch him.
We'll see. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. One of us is wrong.
It could be, but I just want you to absorb life without Dak and understand why they paid him the money.
Yeah, they're going to regret that when Trey Lance goes off.
No, they won't. Why? If he could go off, that'd be great. If they won out and he went to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl this year, we'd be happy to pay Dak his money either way.
Well, I'm just saying, if Trey Lance were to come in and actually do something, because Cooper Rush ain't the answer, I would be happy. If he doesn't come in, and do something, I'll be happy because at least we know that we need to move on from him and do something different.
I mean, I'm perfectly happy with getting a good draft pick for our next head coach.
Well, okay, whatever. I don't care about that either. I mean, you remember back when I told you, I mean, I know who I want my head coach to be. The more and more this team looks like undisciplined doofuses, the more I want my head coach.
Well, I don't think you're going to get your head coach, but I agree that they do look like coaching is a problem.
Yeah, they look like undisciplined doofuses. So I want a disciplinarian, and there ain't no more of a disciplinarian out there than my coach.
Yeah, there is, but I don't want him either.
I don't want him. I want him way less than I want my coach. I want my coach.
I think your coach is pretty comfortable on game day.
That's why I ain't gonna get my coach. But if I had my brothers, that's why I want my coach.
Poor Fat Boy, another disappointing hire
Yeah.
coming up on that.
Yeah, just saying, Trey Lance is going to turn this team around more than when he gets a fair shake at it.
I should buy you a shirt that says "I believe in Trey."
I do believe in Trey. I'm a Trey. I'm a Trey.
Oh my goodness.
Harris, Bill, Ryan the third Trey.
Okay.
Trey Lance.
You're a Trey. And you've got just as much business quarterback in the Cowboys as he does.
Maybe so, but we're going to find out. And I want to find out. We gave up a 4th-round pick for her. He's a first rounder. There might be something there if we
gave up a 4th-round pick for a 2nd-round receiver too.
Yeah, there might be something there too.
There might be, or we may just be bad at making trades.
The only way we find out if there's something there if they get a fair shake at it.
Yeah, but the poor receiver isn't going to get a fair shake because he's got Trey Lance throwing to him.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's what you contend. That's not what I contend, sir.
I know you contend we upgraded quarterbacks and we're fixing to go on a run.
Well, no, we downgraded today. We're gonna if Trey Lance gets the start and the move up, then we'll upgrade next week.
Who do they play next week?
Huh?
Who do they play next week?
Who do they play next week? I hadn't looked it up yet. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I figured you'd have this stuff memorized over here.
I got a phone that I use that's what I do my podcast on. The rest of us ain't got all this fancy equipment. So I can't look nothing up during the show, sir. That's your job.
Sounds like a personal problem to me.
It does.
Apparently it's my problem because I got to go in here and look this stuff up.
Hey, sounds like your problem. That's what I just said.
So they play the Texans on Monday night, the 18th.
Yeah, the Texans that are beating the Detroit Lions that beat us 49-7. 23-7 at halftime. That
Oh, and then the Commanders are next. Do you have any idea what Dan Quinn is going to do to Trey Lance?
we'll see. That's assuming Trey Lance. I mean, I'm not even sure Trey Lance is going to get the start because of how much big a doofus as our coaching staff is. They may stay with Cooper Rush for all the crap I know.
Oh, well, I think these next
I
two games would pretty much end any Trey Lance possibility in Dallas.
I want Trey Lance to go, but I don't think he will. I think we got too big a doofuses at coaching staff now.
I think those guys you're calling doofuses get to watch them every day, all day in practice, and they know which one gives them the best chance to win.
Yeah, because they're doofus.
I don't mind a lot of our coaches' talent recognition. Now our front office is a little bad at making trades for talent. We're good at
Yeah,
drafting talent for the
people
most
think
part.
people think they're doofuses too. I don't. People think they're doofuses too.
What thinks the front office are doofuses?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't. Our GM kind of hurts us in a lot of ways,
yeah. Our GM, he might be a doofus,
but
and I
he's a
hate.
rich one though.
He's a rich doofus.
Okay, all right. So the Cowboys, we'll revisit this whenever we see who they pick to play quarterback and how much. We'll check in on you next week and see how you're liking life without Dak.
Okay. We're on Trey Lance watch.
Okay, you're on Trey Lance watch. I'm pretty
Yes.
much to the point to where it's tough for me to watch a game anymore.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about next?
You want to talk about the facts the Mavs are kind of sucking right now?
Well, you got to give them time to get some cohesive
They
built.
just went to the Western. No, they went to the NBA Finals last year.
They've only played nine. I mean, they've only played 9 games together. Give them some
I
time.
saw Jason Kidd in an interview after the game, and he was pretty much begging that somebody besides for a lot of time, most of the interview, he said Luka and Kyrie. Somebody besides Luka and Kyrie has to do something and make something happen. He said, I played the entire team and nobody else would step up. And then he finally come back up and said, somebody besides Luka, Kyrie, and Clay has to step up. But I mean, he called them out. He laid it down.
One of our
They're what? They're 5-4 and in 10th place in the Western Conference.
Yeah, that's right now. But they've only played 9 games this season. They're still trying to get in. They've had some injuries and stuff, so they're still trying to come together as a team. Got to be patient. Got to be
They've,
patient.
they've got to get it together. They're supposed to come out running out of the gate whenever
Not
you
running
have a year like last year.
play together. They got a bunch of new pieces. They got a jail. You're not giving them time to come together. They're bald guy.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a long season. They got a long way to go. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, after the success of last year, I expected a hotter start.
Well, maybe if we'd had a full complement of personnel and everything, but we just didn't have that. Not even during the preseason. So we're because of injuries. So we're still having some gelling issues. We're going to get there. By the time All Star break gets here, and we fix everything needs to be fixed, we'll be right there just like we were last year.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm right or not, but that's what I believe.
That's what you believe. Well, so what are you thinking about the Stars? Let's pivot to the NHL for a little bit.
Well, I think they just got mollywopped again. I think they went over to Finland, got mollywopped twice in the first game back from Finland. The first game they played when they got back from Finland, they got beat again.
I don't know if
So
this is the first game back that they played or not, but
I believe it was.
Winnipeg did beat them. Of
That's
course,
what
Winnipeg is like 14-1 or something.
I
So
think head. I could be my head could be wrong, but that's what I think I know.
okay. Well, either way, I know they did bad in Finland and they did not do good against the Jets. So
Yeah, yeah, it's not been a better year yet for the Stars either. But once again, I've got patience and I've got time for them to come together
well,
and make.
how come I feel more this way with the Stars than I do the Mavs? That it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Well, because you're not giving the Mavs enough credit.
Maybe my expectations for the Mavs were higher.
maybe so, but you're still not giving the Mavs enough credit.
They're 5-4. It's tough to give them a lot of credit.
Well, but they ain't gelled yet. You're just being too impatient.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Rome wasn't built in a day, bald guy.
Okay. And championships in basketball aren't won in November. I get that.
Yes, true. See, that was the first smart thing you said on this podcast today.
Oh, we'll have to pull the tape. I'm sure I've said something else smart.
I don't think so. Not yet. Okay, so we've talked about the terrible Cowboys. We've talked about the terrible Mavericks. We've talked about the terrible Stars. So let's move on to something that was not terrible for your fat boy.
Hey, here's another good sign. Um, the baseball season's over, so we don't have to talk about the terrible Rangers.
We don't have to talk about the terrible Rangers until they're terrible again, or not terrible again, whichever one comes first. But what we can talk about is what the fat boy weekend pretty much existed of, and that was the mollywop.
Hold on. Before we get in this and you start taking a victory lap, I want to get your thoughts on this other little thing that's coming up this week, and it's should be an exhibition, but they're calling it an official bout. Um, but Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, where you stand on that?
Well, let me ask you a question. I have a question about that.
Okay.
Do you like Jake Paul? I mean, seriously. I mean, that's not a joke question. Do you like anything about the Paul brothers at all? Jake or
I think they're very good marketers. I respect their business and marketing.
Is like and respect the same thing or not?
I mean, I don't think either one of them are great people necessarily, but
it is. Would you, if you could sit around and sit in a room and have a conversation with the two goofballs, would you do that?
I mean, I'd go on impulsive podcast.
Say you had, I mean, nothing bad, but you got a wish for a day. Would the Paul brothers be on your wish list?
No.
Okay. Well,
I would not turn down an impulsive podcast interview.
Well, okay, but I think that's just not because of him. Just I think that's more to benefit yourself, not necessarily because it's him.
Okay.
You would turn around anybody's podcast if it would make a difference.
And I do think that Jake is probably my least favorite Paul. So
I don't like either one of the goofballs, not at all.
See, I figured you would like Logan since he's in wrestling and you're big into wrestling.
He's the heel in wrestling. He's a goofball in wrestling.
I can see him being a good heel.
I mean, he's one of them. I mean, I'm going to spell something here because I'm not supposed to curse. He's a WHOR. I'm not going to finish that word, spelling that word because I don't want to say nothing dirty. But I just don't like people like he is. Never have, never will. So therefore, I want Mike Tyson to win the match. I want him to beat him ugly, just so we can not have to hear him. He beat Iron Mike Tyson. When me and you both know the man is 58 years old, and he's about 250 yards or further from his prime. He's and all that above. So all that to do, I just don't want to let them have any bragging rights over Tyson, because Tyson's somebody that hit me during my teenage years and everything. Not the Tyson that went to prison for doing bad things. The Tyson before that, I would prefer him not to get the reputation of getting beat by a content influencer. So therefore, I'm Tyson all the way, and I don't want the Pauls. I don't want the Pauls to have any more recognition or accolades than they already got.
Okay, so you want Tyson to win. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, until proven otherwise, I'm going to go with the guy that has actually made his living from boxing, and I'm going to go with Tyson. But I could see it not going that way. But I'm picking Tyson.
Well, I mean, I'd say at this point, Jake Paul's pretty much making his living from boxing too.
I don't think so. I think he gets his stuff, most of his money from other doofuses.
I mean, he's pretty much a prize fighter at this point.
You think so? 10 fights ain't a prize. Don't make a prize fighter for me.
If you can sell the pay-per-views and get paid what he gets paid to fight, you're a prize fighter.
Okay, well, we're
I
going.
mean, wouldn't prize fighter, the definition of that be fighting for a prize? And he always gets paid when he fights.
Well, congratulations. There's a old country song that don't impress me much. It doesn't. So therefore,
You
I
don't
just
look
I'm
like Shania Twain as much as you sound like.
that's bullshit. I try. That don't impress me much. So we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go into it rooting that Mike Tyson can embarrass him and knock him out.
I hope Tyson can win. I really do.
Yeah, let's do a little real trivia for a minute.
Okay.
Tyson won his first championship against who? It's
Ooh.
the heavyweight title. Who did he beat his first match? I
Well, it's
tell you,
not his first match. You're saying to win his first title.
first title.
So I don't remember how many fights he'd had before he did that. Um,
Well, let me tell you how far I go back.
okay.
I can remember the exact spot I was. I can remember how I listened to the fight. I can remember how long it took. I can remember everything about it. Would you like to hear the story?
I thought you were just pausing for dramatic effect.
I was doing that, but I mean, I was a youth, a Ute, to quote my cousin Vinny.
Tough to
I
imagine.
I was sitting in a corn dog trailer in Litchfield, Illinois, with my uncle on the parking lot, and Mike Tyson fought Leonard Spinks. He was 21 years old, the youngest guy at that time to ever win the world title. He came out, and all these people spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on this pay-per-view fight. Spinks Tyson, and Tyson beat him in 90 seconds. He got back the first round, and second round started, and Tyson knocked him out.
And what was this?
This was the first time Tyson won the heavyweight championship of the world.
Okay. So your memory's fading, sir.
No, it ain't.
Okay.
Spinks.
Mike Tyson's first championship was the World Boxing Council, the WBC heavyweight title, which he won November 22nd, 1986.
That was not the recognized title. You're talking. That's a secondary title to the title he beat Spinks for.
Maybe he was 20 years, 4 months, and 22 days, and his opponent was
The
Trevor
real
Burbick.
world champion. The real champion at that time was considered to be Spinks, and when he beat Spinks, that was the fight that put Tyson on the map. I don't care what your little Google machine says.
It may be. I'm just telling you that's not when he won his first title. That's all I'm saying.
That's not the title I'm referring to. I'm talking about beating the real world champion.
The
Who was
real title, not that fake title.
who was that again? Because I
Trevor
know people,
Burbick.
huh?
Trevor Burbick.
Yeah, Burbick. Burbick was a journeyman at best. The real first title was Spinks.
Well, he didn't even fight Spinks next. One fight later adds a WBA title with a unanimous decision over James Smith, James Bone Crusher Smith.
Oh, Bone Crusher.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then he retains the WBA and WBC titles and adds the IBF belt by winning a unanimous decision over Tony Tucker. This makes him the first heavyweight to own all three major belts. So he won all three major belts by beating three people, and none of them were Spinks.
You just have to. You just
I'm
have
trying
to.
to find the fight you're talking about. Hold on. I don't doubt that he had a magical moment with Spinks. I'm just trying to find it. So hold on.
You goofball. You're looking up the wrong stuff. Apparently,
Oh,
you don't know how many titles there are in boxing.
yeah, there's three.
No, not then.
Yeah, there was. He was the first one to have all three. That's what he did. The
Okay.
WBC, the WBA, and the IBF were the three. He beat, little history lesson. He beat Burbick, he beat James Bone Crusher Smith, and he beat Tony Tucker to unify the three heavyweight titles. And then after he did that, uh, was when Nintendo released Mike Tyson Punch Out in North America. He unified the titles on August 1st, 87, and on October 18th of 87, Nintendo released Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Okay.
On January 22nd of 88, he knocked out legendary former heavyweight Larry Holmes in the fourth round, who he'd lured out of retirement at age 38 for a $2.8 million purse. All right. Now, that was in January 22nd of 88. June 27th of 88, he finally knocks out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds in the richest fight in boxing history. Although Tyson come in with all of the belts, Ring Magazine and others considered Spinks the lineal champ. After the KO, Spinks never fought again. So Spinks was considered the champ. I don't know if he had lost a belt or what, did he get hurt? Is that what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. Yes. That lineal champ. That's what I was talking about. When I called Spinks the real world champ, Spinks was considered to be the guy. And Tyson beat him in 91 seconds.
Yeah.
That was what,
And then Spinks said, I'm good. I'm done. I don't want to do this no more.
huh?
Spinks retired after that. He's done.
Yeah, yes. Because Tyson damn near killed him in 90 seconds.
And then, of course, 2 years
And
later in 1990, the fight that I really remember Tyson for was he goes over there and takes Buster Douglas.
way light.
Yeah, yeah, and gets beat, and it all just starts going downhill.
Yeah, bad. Yes, but at least the article backs up what I said. Because you started off making me look like a big
I
goofball.
was trying to find it. I tried to look up
Yeah,
Tyson's
so
timeline, and
everything all your preamble, goofball, goofball, goofball. Don't know what you're talking about. Don't know what you're talking about. And then you get to it, and then it solidifies everything I said previous to that.
you just need to
So
clarify your
prefer
point a little bit. You just need
if
to
you
clarify a little better.
I would just prefer you to get to the when I'm right part a little faster from now on, please,
Okay.
as opposed to making me the goofball of the butt of your joke.
I can't help you that your timeline and their timeline were not the same. Okay.
Well, but if you got there, you dug me a hole, but you got me out of the hole before you finished it, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I could have just quit reading whenever
You,
I got through
well,
the three.
yeah, that's what I figured you'd do.
Yeah, yeah. Be like, nah, man, they don't even talk about Spinks in this whole article. I don't know what you're talking about.
Speaks is
Yeah.
God Almighty.
Okay.
I like having a podcast with somebody I don't like. Okay,
Anyway, all right. So who are you picking in the fight? If you had to bet on the fight, who would you bet on?
Tyson.
You'd bet on Tyson.
I would.
I think I'd bet on Jake Paul.
I
I
just
want Tyson to win, but I think Jake Paul's just way younger. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Tyson's almost a 60-year-old man.
I think, but if Tyson's got one of those Mike Tyson punches left, just one, it'd be good night Irene, in my opinion.
Oh, and I think he does. I think he does. Watching him work in the ring and leading up to this and leading up to his other fights that he just had.
Just one of them good, Mike Tyson punches. I could send him sending Jake Paul to Dreamland.
Yeah, and the whole world would laugh at that point.
Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so can we finally move on to college football, please? I had a better weekend, and we had to talk about all this dreariness. Then we had to talk about a fight, and you had to make me look like a doofus, which I'm not. And so let's get to it.
Okay. Well, so tell us a little something about college football here.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but there was a little night game in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Uh, former Death, former stadium, Death Valley Stadium, now Roll Tide Stadium once again. And the Alabama Crimson Tide went into LSU and mollywopped them 40, 42 to, well, I think it ended up we gave them they got an easy late touchdown real late with like a few seconds left on the clock. So I think it ended up 42-13. So in the polls on the AP poll this week, the new college football bracket will come out Tuesday. AP poll has Alabama moving up to 9, but Alabama still. We got Mercer this week. Then we play Oklahoma, and then we play Auburn. We still have no room, no margin for error. We can't have any slip ups to get to the end of the season to stay where we are, because a third loss would just be, it would end the whole season for my beloved Alabama.
And that the new AP poll anyway, does have the Georgia loss putting them below Alabama,
Yeah,
which I agree with.
yeah. And I need one of the things I need to happen is I need Georgia to step back up and rebound real good again from getting licking their wounds from Ole Miss and get ready to play Rocky Top and just beat Rocky Top ugly.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Maybe.
Well, I does because I need it to. That's my next request. All right, so the new AP top 5 uh, is Oregon, Ohio State, um, Texas, Indiana, and who was 5? Was Penn State 5? I think Penn State was 5.
I think so.
Penn State was 5.
That's 3 Big Ten teams
That's
in the
three
top
big
5.
in the top 5. And we had a discussion off air. There was some miscommunication with me and some other guys I was talking to this about. The top four that get the bye are the division winners of your major conferences.
The highest seeded conference champions.
City conference champion, which is your Big 10, your Big 12, your ACC, and your SEC.
Yep.
Hold that thought, because there's gonna be another comment come out of this and some more stuff we need to discuss coming out of this in a minute about those for who will be ranked Tuesday. We're gonna have that conversation, just not yet. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Because I'm not through talking about Alabama yet.
I know we couldn't rush past y'all's big victory. So would you please go ahead and put it out there? I mean,
Death Valley beating them the way we did in Death Valley, that was kind of a big deal, whether you like Alabama or not.
did you say Death Valley or Death Valley?
Well, there's some history there. Do you want to know it? The original
tell us about it. Tell us about it.
The original name of Tiger Stadium. I didn't know this until I watched a segment on Game Day. The original name was not DEATH. Was not the original name of Tiger Stadium. At one time, it was DEAF, Death Valley, and then in the '60s they played Clemson and renamed it to Death Valley. But for a long time, it was Death Valley, based on the fact that stadium was so loud. That's how they came up with that, Death Valley. I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
But they changed it in the '60s when they played. I think it was a home and home with Clemson or something, had something to that effect, and then they changed their name to Death Valley.
That is interesting. See, you're full of all these little nuggets.
Well, I try to be. And then you like to bury me with some of them too. So, okay. So, who, as of Tuesday, we don't officially know this yet, but we think we know it. Who will be the top 4 seeds as of Tuesday, bald guy? You name them, and then we're
4 seeds.
Your top 4 seeds, which is your which is your major conference leaders. If it were to end today, who would get the top 4 seeds as we if it
Well,
were to end today?
Oregon would be number one.
Okay.
And then I guess it would probably have to go to Texas at number two,
Yeah.
right?
Right. I think SEC number 2 makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
hold on, I am seeing something here. I don't know if it'll show up. No, it ain't gonna show up till tomorrow. But either way, because somebody did ponder um Alabama moving ahead of Texas, but I don't know about that one.
I don't think that should be
Yeah, I don't see how
and,
that
and
works.
I'm an Alabama homer and I don't think that.
Right. So
If I
I think Texas will be number two. Because like I said, three of the top five are Big Ten schools.
right, which will ultimately work itself out.
Maybe, but I mean, uh didn't Ohio State beat Penn State?
Yes.
So they've already beat that. Oregon, who does Oregon play? Do they play
Oregon, Ohio State.
they play Ohio State?
Yeah.
They already
No.
did, right? Didn't they beat them?
Yeah, Oregon beat Ohio State. Yes.
Okay, so Oregon's still going to be there now. If Oregon plays Penn State and Penn State wins, I guess that would
Yeah. We'll
throw
see.
stuff in a little
Okay.
muddy.
Who would
Okay,
who?
anyway, so you had Big Ten champion hash ranked right now would be Oregon. Then you would have the SEC, which would be Texas at number two, that would get the bye. And then you would have uh
BYU at 3 right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean BYU would be three.
They're undefeated and they're leading the Big 12.
Yeah, they're leading the Big 12. So if they hold out and win the Big 12, BYU, and then everything gets crazy
Well, it ain't crazy to me.
because Miami just got beat.
Yes, they did. And what does that mean for the ACC, Charlie, or bald guy?
I think that means that SMU would then be their top
They're
seed.
they're undefeated in conference.
Yeah, so that would put SMU getting the number 4 seed and getting a bye.
Okay. Well, let's have a conversation about SMU. What does anything about SMU stick out to you about that? Because a couple of things about SMU stuck out to me.
Well,
I
I
don't know
mean,
if
SMU has been getting better the last several years.
several years, no doubt about that. But have they won any kind of championships, or they might have won a bowl game, a toilet bowl game I don't know about, but
Right,
that
they may have done that, but they have not been
well,
important or relevant.
conference championship. When was the last time they were relevant? Do you remember that date?
No, because I was very young back
You were.
then, back before they
I,
got the death penalty.
I was born in. Look I'll pull the curtain back. I think you're younger than I am, right?
Yep.
I was born in '77. The last time the SMU was relevant was 1985, 86.
Okay.
Well, let's go back in history. What happened in '85 and '86? Well, who was the running back in '85 and '86 for your SMU?
Now hold on. So let's while we're pulling it back, let me just state for the record that I mean I would have been 4 in '86.
Yeah, but you're kind of a historian. You're bound to know who the running back was. He was famous.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the
He got caught doing something, and he got a car from Texas A&M, and then he got caught doing something.
yeah, but wasn't
Eric,
wasn't Reese in the backfield with him?
yeah, maybe, but the one I'm thinking of is Eric Dickerson.
I know you're talking about Dickerson, but isn't wasn't one of the reporters for uh ESPN uh
Possibly, but I don't have
I
that.
I, I think he was because he was the one that if you'll remember Texas Tech put his son in a closet for
Oh,
having like migraines or whatever.
Reese, I think it was that other guy, but I can't remember what his name was.
Either way,
Okay,
either way.
anyway, so I said all that to say this. I said he got his hand caught in the cookie jar. What did he get? What what happened to SMU based off him getting his hand caught in the cookie
No,
jar?
he didn't get his hand caught in the cookie jar. I mean, his whole head and neck was in the cookie jar.
Breaking news: the Dallas Mavericks lost to Denver,
Okay.
one twenty
Gotta
two to
expect it.
122 to 120.
Okay. Close game. But
Yes,
yes, the SMU got caught with stuff that went as far all the way to the governor's mansion in Texas.
yes. Governor Clements got caught up in a pay for play scandal with SMU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Uh,
they should have been better and not got caught. I feel like they were kind of like Miami in the 90s and got a little flamboyant with it. They were Miami before Miami.
a little flamboyant is a stretch. Okay. Uh, so so in '87, what did the NCAA do about this?
They handed out the first ever death penalty.
And based off of recent history, the last ever the NCAA come out and
They
said
will
they'll never
never do that to anybody else again.
do that to any school ever again, because even the NCAA in hindsight said that was entirely too harsh of a penalty to give anybody for anything.
Yeah, but
But
at the time they were trying to make a point.
they were trying to use, they were using poor SMU as an example. In '87, they got the death penalty. That means for the next 15, I think it was 15 years, we decided that for the next 15 years, they had no scholarship athletes.
No, I think it may have just been like 4 or 5.
Well, but it was a long time.
Yeah,
It was,
they canceled the 87 season, and then in 88 they told them they could only play at away games.
and they were also prohibited from going to any bowl or any extra. They could play the season, but they couldn't be bowl eligible ever. I know that was one of the things too.
And then that finally got lifted uh what in the early 2010s maybe?
Yes, the past the alls
Yeah.
is what I the 2000s. Okay, so here now we're going to talk about something else. A few months ago, the NCAA did something unprecedented. Would you like to tell the audience at home what they did unprecedented for
Well, I
the
mean
first
it was more than a few months ago, but you're
like a few months to me, several
okay.
months in?
But the NCAA finally in their wisdom decided that these student athletes could actually be paid for their performance.
Okay, but that's not exactly what I was talking about. A few months ago, what I was talking about was the fact that the NCAA had did something good and reinstated Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy to him, based off the fact he got
Oh,
his hand.
that was the Heisman Committee, right? That wasn't the
No,
NCAA.
it was in correlation with both. I looked that up. It was correlated with NCAA and the Heisman Committee. Both agreed that because of what has transpired in the future of that, Bush should not have gotten in trouble for that. And I contend, with that precedent in mind, that SMU should get awarded back their national championships for the simple fact that all they did was something that is completely legal now. And this is the first time in 38 years, if SMU stays where they are, they will have got to, in 38 years, it's the first time that SMU will get to play for the championship since they got the death penalty, based off something now in the future that is completely legal what they did. So, do you think? Which you probably disagree with me, because you like that's your favorite position. Do you think that the SMU should at least be considered to get their titles back?
No, I do not think they should be considered.
Never doubted it for a minute. And why do you disagree with? Why does the Reggie Bush thing apply?
I don't really think the Reggie Bush thing should have happened.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
I I didn't know that. I'm glad we didn't talk about that prior. I didn't know you didn't. I did. I was on board with that, and I'm on board with SMU because I think.
Well, I always thought that since the players were getting paid anyway and they didn't have a real good way of stopping it, but if they could prove it and they could go in and do that, those were still the rules. So if you were caught and punished under the rules, you just had to deal with the circumstances.
Well, but now there's. I didn't set the precedent.
I
You didn't.
understand that, but I'm saying I don't
But
think you
now,
can
okay.
go back and change it.
But now that they have, based off the precedent, the NCAA and the Heisman Committee precedent sets, do you? I mean, fair is fair, right?
Well, hold on. So that's only that they gave that back. Did they give USC their championships back?
Yes, they sure did. They gave them their wins back.
So they gave them all their wins and reinstated everything.
That is what I've been led to believe. That is what I researched.
So I mean, all they did was punish all the people that wasn't cheating back then.
Well, yeah, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly what they did. I
Yeah.
think that is a dumb thing to do.
Okay, well, I'm just saying I didn't. It wasn't my call. So don't shoot the messenger.
No, it's fine, but I'm just saying that would be like we've made this big stink about steroids and baseball, and then all of a sudden we go, hey, as long as it's monitored by team doctors, y'all take whatever you want, and we'll let all those guys in the Hall of Fame.
I
Which I mean,
see.
I think they
You,
should be in the Hall of
you
Fame
don't.
anyway, but
You don't.
that's different.
You don't want my know my. I agree with. I don't think steroids ought to be illegal.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think it should be a problem. I think it would make the game better, but
Yes.
I still baseball wouldn't do that.
Well, I know because but baseball's got a lot of quirks and a lot of I can't
Yeah,
think of the
but the NCAA was supposed to be this high and mighty organization that was above everybody
right.
too.
They finally did something right. You can't. I mean, we were all mad at the NCAA for being so crappy for so long. They finally get off their butt and do something right. Let's continue that trend. And you let Reggie Bush and USC out of prison. Do the same. You can do it if you can reinstate USC. You can reinstate SMU. That's just where I fall on.
But what does it do for them though? I mean, at this point, you're so far. It was years ago.
What does it do for them?
Yeah,
It wrongs the right. It makes
rights are wrong.
champions back to being champions. They should have never lost champions for something that they shouldn't have lost. They should have been getting paid anyway.
But I go back on this because nobody else was getting paid as egregiously as they were.
I don't care how egregious it was. It was still wrong for them not to be paid. Period. So therefore, they reinstated USC.
Maybe so, but if you paid and nobody else got to pay, or some of the people paid, but not everybody paid, then it wasn't a level playing field.
Well, I'm not talking about level playing fields. Here's what I am talking about. I'm talking about the. I mean, once you do the USC and the Bush thing, to me, you don't stop there.
I know, but I don't think they should have done that one. So,
but that's already done now. Whether you disagree with that or not, I mean, it's already done. And not to mention the fact, I mean, I have no dog in this fight. Everybody knows that I am a staunch Alabama fan. When we cheated, we didn't get caught.
hey, the NCAA has not indicated that it will reinstate USC's 2004 national championship title or the wins from the 05 season. However, the Heisman Trust reinstated Reggie Bush's 2005 Heisman Trophy in April of 2024, which could lead to the reinstatement of USC's record and statistics.
So they haven't reached. I thought they did.
No, no, and as of June, they said they couldn't.
Well, okay. Well, they need to follow the lead of the Heisman Trust and do it.
Well, they're not going to.
Well, they hadn't done it yet. Maybe they will. We need to be starting a grassroots campaign for them to do it, because I think that all them boys that they got paid should have been getting paid, and they should have their titles back.
I think they all should have been getting paid, but that's a completely different theory because college football looks entirely different if everybody got paid the whole time.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I really feel like this is the death penalty was a big too big a penalty. What they got there, like you said, caught the cookie jar for was egregious, but it should have been legal anyway. So I think you give USC their
I
stuff
think
back.
it should have been legal, but I think you were by reinstating their wins, you're saying what they did at the time was okay, and that did not fit with the rules at the time. The Heisman Trust giving him his trophy back is completely different
Not
than
to me, not to me, sir.
them allowing one team to operate with different rules.
I don't. I totally disagree with
That
your
would
statement.
be like saying all the other teams can't have any kind of advantage, but the Houston Astros can go bang on a trash can lid
That's
to
what.
tip pitches.
That's not what it said at all.
That's exactly what it's saying.
Because here's the deal: just because everybody else didn't get caught, everybody else had their hand in that same cookie jar.
There's some organizations that did not.
Well, I'm just saying there was a bunch that did,
Now,
and
most of them were not very good at football
one
during
that
that
got
time,
blowed,
but there were some that were not doing that.
the one that got blowed up in a real bad fashion was SMU, and I feel for them boys, and I want them to have their titles back. And I think after now,
Hey, none of them are boys. All of them are older than us,
well,
sir.
time they were kids, they were boys.
Yeah, but they ain't now.
Well, can't help it. I think them gentlemen should. I think the NCAA should do a redo on that.
I don't.
And,
I'm
and
just
also
saying.
apologize for it.
Apologize for what? They knew the
Ruining,
rules. They broke the rules.
ruining,
Whether the rules were right or not doesn't matter.
ruining the future success of the SMU program.
Okay. But you
That's what
understand
this is.
what they were doing? They were trying to show that no place was bigger. No one university was bigger
But
than
they were
college
wrong.
football.
They were wrong. They should have been playing them kids anyway.
I'm with you on that, but those were not the rules at the time.
Can't help it. Just because, just because they wasn't, don't mean they shouldn't have been.
I'm not arguing that the guys shouldn't have got paid. I think they should have got paid.
Well, but I
I'm
don't.
just saying that whether
Think,
we think morally they should have got paid or however you want to justify it, they didn't, they were not allowed to be paid by the rules. Nobody could pay their players. They got caught paying their players.
well, and they need to they need to apologize to SMU and give them their championship back.
That's crazy. No, they shouldn't.
I think they should.
I
And
have no problem with the NCAA coming out and saying, hey, y'all, we should have been playing players this whole time. Our bad. We got it wrong.
well, if they're going to say that, they need to fix it.
No, you can't go back and fix it.
They need to issue championship rings to them teams and them the
No,
players that are left and the families of the
those
players that are
teams
left.
got their championship rings.
Yeah, I think they had to give them back.
I don't think they took them back. I think they took it off the record books, maybe, but they got their rings, they got their parades,
Well,
they got the
yeah,
the feel of winning the game on the
they
field.
also got denigrated, looked down, and all kinds of other things. And they weren't SMU for 38 years. So
Yeah, and so they weren't able to come back and be relevant again until they could pay their players. Once again.
Everything comes full circle.
There you go. So one
And
thing we know is SMU is good at buying talent.
well, I guess so because the last time they were relevant was the last time they did.
And hey, if they come up and win the national championship or something the first year of 12 teams, that would be pretty fancy. And we'll have a whole episode dedicated to that.
Yeah, the fact that the last time they played players, they were champions, and this time they played players to champions. I mean, this stuff writes itself.
All right. Well, I think that's about all I got tonight. You got anything else you want to?
I don't think so. What's the score? 23-13 in the third. Texas are still on top of Detroit.
Okay.
All right. Well, That's all I got.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
Roll
Like,
Tide.
subscribe. I don't know about that roll tide. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys later.